it's Popp here, Redonkulous.com, with another episode from the Lair. Let's see, somebody asked me a question, why I went in the Army and not one of the other services. Well, I can swim well, and when I talked to the Marine guys, they told me I had to go on a float for my first 1 or 2 tours, which is basically you live on a ship where you can't see the shore. And I'm not a big fan of that, because I know if I can see the shore, I can swim to it. And I'll be pissed off when I get there, but I can do it. But if I can't see the shore, it kind of fucks with me, so that was out. I didn't go in the Navy because, obvious reason, the ocean, and the Air Force, that just didn't appeal to me at all. Though, if you go in the Air Force, it's like a 9-to-5 job. The chow halls are like Denny's. They have, confine you to your room for punishment. Wow. The Marines are just irresponsible with their troops. They treat them like a wall of red meat, and they don't give a fuck if they get killed, maimed, or whatever. Because I was basically in Iraq when both Fallujah fights went down, and we had a cache inside the walls of Abu, and we were bringing some of the lower priority guys back to get treated, and then sent over to the stateside. And it was pretty bad. I was there in the talk. And they were keeping track of who was taking what combat lane, because the whole city of Fallujah was broken down into combat lanes, and each lane is assigned different units, and there was a couple of Marine Corps units there. And literally, I'm like watching. I was in the talk for like 4 hours, and I'm getting the progress, and you can see that the Army units are actually penetrating deeper through Fallujah, and they're taking 30% less casualties than the Marines. Now, it could be the tanks, or it could be any one of the different factors, except for I think it's this. To be honest with you, I think the Army is just better fighters, and when coordinating wise, they used their tanks properly. They had Bradleys, they had helicopters. You could hear it on the radio, like, oh, we're taking fire from this building. They give the grid where the building's at. They're like, oh, we're going to hunker down here until the tank comes. And you don't hear anything more from them for about 10 minutes. You hear them come on the radio like, all right, the tank's here. You hear it pounding away in the background. And they're like, oh, we're going to win the objective. Then they go on, with everything's leveled, or they're all blown up with a tank. I mean, that's what tanks are for. The Marines are like, we're taking fire from the tower. We're assaulting. I'm like, what the fuck? I must have heard that 3 or 4 times. And I was so upset. I was invited to leave the talk, which I had to do because I was just enlisted. There's officers in there, and I was starting to lose my professionalism and getting a little upset. But if you want to learn a trade, go in the Navy. Blue-collar trade all day long. Pipe fitting, plumbing, carpentry. You do that. Electronics. The whole deal. The Marines, 96% of the time, their people do 1 enlistment and they're out. They're bitter. They hate the fucking military because the Marines treated their guys like shit. There you go. You heard it from the horse's mouth. All right. So hopefully that answers that question there. Somebody asked me about my kickboxing videos. I fought, basically from like 91 to like 2000, and there really wasn't a lot of videotape going on because kickboxing wasn't that familiar. It wasn't that popular. But when I did decide to have what tapes I had converted over to DVD, I lost about 30% of my library because the tapes were old and couldn't be saved. It is what it is. I fought for a world title, which I worked my way up all the way through the ranks. I got defeated by TKO in the 10th round. I was cut too bad to continue. But in all honesty, he shattered my ribs on the 2nd round, and I just kind of went through the motions because it didn't seem right to quit. His name was Eddie Butcher. I think he plays the bass now, and the name of the belt was for the FFKA Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. I have the FFK North American belt there, and the UKF, which is from the West Coast. I had to turn the belt back in when I retired, but I still have a trophy that's 8 feet high, which I disassembled somewhere. It's in a box, but it is what it is. I really liked kickboxing. I got pretty damn good at it. Usually when I get involved in something, I take it to the limit. I don't fuck around. I did the same thing in college, my Army career, and I did with kickboxing. And I'll probably do the same thing with comedy and some other shit down the road because that's what I want to do. And I get laser focused, which is one of those things I got from the Army, which helped me out a lot in my life. All right, I also got somebody sent me a link to a Jessie Daniels. So she's a professor of sociology at Hunter College in New York, and she's basically claiming that if you have a man and wife and their children and they're all white, you basically have an intact nuclear family. This is basically white supremacy. So, I mean, that speaks volumes to what the left is trying to do. All right, people are like, oh, she's just some crackpot. No, she's not. She is in a position to influence the minds of thousands and thousands of people that come through her class. It's fucked up, and the left is all about this. In fact, if you go through a lot of the Stalin indoctrination, what he did is he broke the family down, and then he was able to take over the country and basically put an iron will on him, and then drove him into the ground. All right. Somebody wanted me to go through some of my basic training stuff. Basically, they want me to talk about basic training and how it was for me. Well, let's see. I went into basic training when I was 17 years old. I was there for, I think, just almost 4 months. I came back in like mid-October. I left in May, June, July. I don't know. So it was like June, I think. I don't remember. I spent a week or two at the MEP station where you get prepped to go to your basic training starship, which they called it, with these big fucking brick buildings. And back then they had Sand Hill and Harmony Church. I went to Sand Hill because they were shutting down Harmony Church. Though I did, do a urban sniper course at Harmony Church before they tore down all the buildings. That was some good training. All right, so I remember before I went to basic training, I talked to a lot of people who'd been in the Army, and I knew the lowdown of exactly how it was going to go down. And basically what they told me worked out. About 80% of it was correct. And they told me to show up with one gym bag. In that gym bag, you're going to have a pair of sweats, 2 pairs of underwear, a short, 2 pairs of socks, a shaving kit which will have a toothbrush, toothpaste, shaving cream, and a couple of razors, and that's it. I brought a little bit of Motrin, but they took that away from me. So they put you on the bus, they drive you around, it's kind of scary a little bit, and it was more like a cattle car. And then they get in there and you've got 3 minutes to get off this bus, and 2 of them are gone, and these guys are yelling, and I didn't really take to the yelling. I didn't like the yelling part because I really hadn't been yelled at like that in my life. But everybody jumped out the windows, and they were just vacating, and I just got up with my one bag and I walked out, and they made me do some push-ups because I wasn't moving fast enough. It was kind of confusing. And then they took us out to the PT field, and they spread us out and made us dump all our shit. All right, so I had this one duffel bag, dumped it out. They went through all my shit. They took away the Motrin, told me to pack it up and go stand against the wall until they got this all unsorted. So I sat there for about an hour while they were, rat fucking all of these guys fucking shit. Now, I was told to bring one gym bag. There's guys who showed up with 2 duffel bags. A guy had this big travel trunk. It was hilarious. I mean, there was clothes flying in the air, soap, powder, dudes just going crazy. Guys like, get up, man. I mean, the drill sergeants love to natter you and make you get all fucked up in your head. So, they bring all the guys in. Everyone had all the crazy shit. They hand receipted it to them. They put it in the supply cage. And one dude actually brought a gun, brought a pistol to basic training. Now, it was handled quite well. They basically gave the guy 2 choices. He could throw the pistol in the amnesty barrel and no questions would be asked, or they're going to hand receipt the pistol and keep it in the supply room and then and run the numbers and see if it's stolen or anything. I don't know what happened, but I saw the kid throw in the amnesty barrel, and that was it. Everyone knew it was his gun, but nobody said shit because he threw it in the amnesty barrel. Now, if that happened today, that dude would be in jail. He'd be fucked. But back then, it really wasn't a showstopper. He got yelled at, he had to do some push-ups, whatever. So they line us up, and they break us down in about 30 guys per platoon. And I'm sitting on, on my duffel bag that they gave me with my uniform and my boots and my underwear, my t-shirts, and all the shit you need, you know, two hats. It was in one duffel bag, and I was sitting on it. And they told us to sit at attention. Well, I didn't know what that was. I mean, I knew how to stand at attention or parade rest. I learned that in the reception station. So I just sat there. You know, have like bad posture anyway. So these three drill sergeants just descend on me. They're yelling at me from all sides, and one of them says, "Hey, wait a minute. I know where this guy's from. Don't answer." He goes, "I bet you're from Chicago." I'm like, no. He goes, "Okay. I bet you're from L.A." I'm like, "No, drill sergeant." "Okay, I bet you're from Detroit." I'm like, "Yes, drill sergeant." He said, "I knew it." They all gave each other high fives, and they made me, for another 40 minutes, I had to hold that goddamn duffel bag over my head. Holy shit, you know. It wasn't that heavy, but after 45 minutes, it was pretty goddamn heavy. So, you know, we go through the whole deal. You know, we move into our wall lockers, we make our bed, and, you know, they come in, they yell at us, and they do some more inspections to make sure nobody's sick or anybody has any stitches they don't have reported or, you know, other shit like that. Why they did that, I don't know. But we were so fucked up. My platoon was terrible. We could not work together at all. Oh my God, the memories. We had, let's see, I had rednecks. I had white trash. We had black trash. I had a couple Hicks, a couple Vatos from L.A., and then we had this one guy named Dugas who was a homosexual. It didn't go well for him. So what the drill sergeants did to us to make us work together as a team is after chow, right around 6 o'clock, when you have 2 hours to do your laundry or whatever you're going to do, we had to move everything from the bay upstairs, disassemble it, bring it downstairs, reassemble it exactly how it was to be upstairs, to include the making of the bed, wall lockers packed, foot gear on the ground, us standing at attention in front of our bunks. The drill sergeant would come out, would just walk right by, he didn't even fucking care. He just said, "Take it down, put it back up there, when you're done, go to bed." So the first week, or it was like a week and a half, I got maybe an hour and a half of sleep. We just couldn't work together. And one day, it just went like that. We had everything taken down and moved down there in an hour, got our inspection, had it back upstairs in 45 minutes. How that happened, I have no idea. That was the last time they fucked with us. Period. Now, I'm going to talk to you about some of the games that go on there. And I don't know if they still do this, but I'm still kind of traumatized, to this day a little bit. I was the second smallest guy in my platoon. We had a couple of fat bodies and a couple of guys who were just like big. So I would have to go in the front of the chow line, me and this other guy named Paradis. He was chow hound like I was, who's on the small side. And we'd go through, get our food, and we have to stand there with our trays. And there was a drill sergeant already posted. And when the fat bodies came out, they would take food off of their trays and stick it on my tray or Paradis' tray. So I wound up with like this mound of food. There's no way I could possibly eat this. And this one day, I don't know what was going on with this drill sergeant. He took everyone's smoky links and threw them on my plate. He says, "I'm not getting enough protein. I need to eat all the smoky links." So, I'm trying to wolf them down, and I get like maybe 2/3 done, and I'm like starting to do the gagging. And all I can remember is the drill sergeant in my fucking ear going, "Eat the goddamn monkey dicks! Eat them! Eat!" I mean, holy shit. I could barely finish them. I was sick. He did that like pretty much every day for like 2 weeks. And just about 3 years ago, I was able to eat smoky links again. I've been traumatized for 3 decades over the goddamn monkey dick story. It's fucking horrible. And, the thing is, when you're in basic training, everyone there is between the ages of 17 and 20. A couple of guys are 21. Drill sergeants, late 20s, middle 30s. A couple of them were a little older than that. But when you're a young boy like that, a young man, back then, it's not like it is today, because you have the Xbox body going on. But back then, everyone did sports, everyone was pretty much, healthy for the most part. So it took maybe like 3, they had to pull the string to get it going, but after about 3 weeks of the PT they would put us through, we got it to the point we were fucking in super shape. We could actually, in formation, run faster than our drill sergeants. calling cadence, the whole deal. And then when you get to that point, you realize there's really nothing they could do to you. They make you do push-ups, so what? I mean, I was getting dropped for 50 push-ups 4 or 5 times a day. That's nothing. You know, maybe you're running the 2 miles after I do PT, so what? I'm 18, who cares? Fuck that. And they start to know it. And after a while, they quit fucking with you on a personal level, and it becomes like professional. Like if you're, you know, fucking up, like doing your sports on the weapons, they get kind of upset at you and shit like that. But, you know, they just don't fuck with you anymore. When you get to that level, they figure you're doing okay, and they have to go down what they need to teach you. And as long as you stay okay, they don't have to like come out and fuck with you. Now, this is a funny story, and this is actually speaks to our ability to gel as one unit. The other guy who lived down, you know, 2 bunks over me, my buddy Paradis, he had a problem. He used to snore insanely fucking loud. It drove us fucking crazy. So the whole platoon, when he went to sleep and started snoring, we picked his bunk up, and we had guys, you know, passing it off, and we're carrying it. We took the middle part out, the middle part of the door, so it was just open. There were just screws in the top and bottom. We took it out, and we carried him out of the bay, down 2 flights of stairs, and right by the CQ office where the drill sergeant was. Now he comes out and he's like, he saw what we were doing. He's like, oh. He didn't say nothing. We walked Paradis all the way out to the PT field, right by the water sprinklers. Then we went back to bed. He was still snoring. So he put the bar back in the middle, and we forgot all about it. We got first call. We went down there, and there was about 80 drill sergeants there. One of them is standing right by the spigot to turn the water on. And as soon as they started blowing reveille, he fucking turns on the water, and old Paradis gets up and he's running around. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. The only funny part about it is this. I grew up in a single parent home. My mother, you know, she raised me. I didn't really have a lot of sports. And it's shameful to say I couldn't throw baseball correctly. I sucked. So, you know, we're going to go do the grenade range. And that morning, they give us we all have like 10 or 15 just grenade bodies. And we have to throw them in this hula hoop. And they're just trying to gauge, you know, how fucked up everyone is. And I take mine, and I just couldn't, I fucked it up. I couldn't even throw it. And I remember the drill sergeant was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, Pop. And he goes over there, hey, you gotta see this. And like 5 or 6 other drill sergeants show up, and I'm throwing these goddamn hand grenades, and they're just laughing at how fucked up I'm doing it. So every day before I got to eat, after that point, I had to throw 50 hand grenades and try to get them into a 55-gallon drum, which is about 30 to 40 meters away. In the beginning, I sucked, but by the time I, you know, got out of basic, I was an expert at throwing hand grenades because I did it, you know, so fucking much. I remember in basic doing the bayonet assault course. I'm getting all pumped up because it's 1 mile straight, and you got to gauge all the targets. The drill sergeant Long reaches down, grabs up a handful of that goddamn red ant fucking bullshit, opens my t-shirt, throws it down there, and says, go! I couldn't stop. I had fucking fire ants chewing me up. I ran as fast as I fucking could, did all my shit, got out. And then when I got to the other side, I was all bit to fucking shit, all welted up. I got all the stuff off me. Now, if they would have done that today, you would have been fucking court-martialed. But back then, it was just motivation. It worked out pretty good. You're going to love this. We go to this one range where they teach us how to drive military vehicles. I drove the Deuce and a Half, drove the fucking 113, and another variant of the 113, which was not quite a Bradley, didn't have the turret on the top. Didn't even have a driver's license. No driver's license. And I'm like, Drill Sergeant, I don't have a driver's license. He's like, I don't fucking care. Get in there and do it anyway. So before I even got my driver's license, I'd driven a 2.5 ton truck, a 5 ton truck, Cut V, 113, and the variant of the 113, and fucking loved it. No problems, you know? It is what it is. That's another good thing I did in basic. Oh my God. Fuck, dude. Ran our fucking balls off. That fucking sucked. We're doing a speed march, and the whole company is there. It wasn't anybody in my platoon, but we're doing the speed march. We're doing 8 miles. You go out there, you do 2 or 3 2 miles, 2 5 miles, an 8, a 10, and a 12, and you got to do the 12 in 3 hours or less. And we're at the 8 mile mark, and we're on the road. We'd go down to 4 miles and come back 4 miles. Well, somebody in one of the platoons up there had this fat guy. He shouldn't have been there. And it's hot. It's fucking summer in Georgia. We're doing our fucking deal, and he's on the side of the road doing the kicking chicken. I thought, he'll be all right. I'm just gonna give him an IV or take him to the fucking TMC or whatever the fuck they do. On the way back, he had a fucking tarp over him. The motherfucker died straight up. I'm like, holy shit. I never saw anybody dead before. And I was eating chow in the morning, and the guy was in the chow hall with me. Now he's on the side of the road here, dead in a fucking door now. And no one ever said nothing about it. It wasn't in my platoon. What are you going to do? And then we had the homo guy named Dugas. I think he was just playing the gay thing to get out of fucking being in the Army. I don't know why he was there, but back in the day, in the 80s, there were people there who were in the Army or go to jail. I even had a guy who couldn't even fucking read. I had to teach him how to read on our time off, which he greatly appreciated. But yeah, this guy Dugas would jump in bed with people, after lights out, and it was just we just had enough. So I didn't have anything to do with this, but there was 4 or 5 other guys who just beat the shit out of him, fucking opened the window and threw his ass out. We saw the lights of the ambulance come up, and they drove away, and the next day his locker was empty. I didn't really approve of it, but it is what it is. There was another guy there, and he's from the wrong side of the Yo Mama line. See, the northern, there's like a Yo Mama line runs like through the United States, and I should probably put it on a map. But if you're north of the Yo Mama line and you talk trash to about somebody's mother, people are like, whatever. My mother, tell her I said hi. You're on the wrong side of the Yo Mama line. The minute you bring up the mother, instant fight. Instant fight. This guy, I must have fought this guy 2 or 3 times. He was just a dick. He was a little bit bigger than me, but I could mix it up pretty good. I knew a little bit of martial arts back then, and I did okay. But one night, these guys are gonna fucking do the blanket party thing on this dude because he's an asshole. He's an asshole, and I wouldn't let it happen. I just couldn't do it. I said, motherfucker, you ain't fucking beating a guy in the bed. That's fuck that. You can stand him up and you fight him 1-on-1. That's cool, but don't beat a guy in his fucking bed. That's his fucking bullshit right there. So I saved him from getting a blanket party. He did get his ass kicked a few days later, but it was a stand-up fight and he had it coming. Anyway, hopefully you can piece this fucking nut roll together. You have a good night.